Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 41st episode of the Sensational ArtaCast. With the second week of no, it's actually the first week. It's the first week we got all revealed cards, honestly. So the brewing season began. For the new post-rotation metagame, I think it's very exciting for everyone. It feels like much more work that need to be done than the past sets. Obviously, because the game is changing the most since it got released. Honestly, I think, and I think there still needs to be a lot to be discovered, in my opinion, and probably in your opinion, our, but you will
Mm.
see say it yourself. I brewed on a lot of decks. I tested so much the last week. Although I have so much to do, I can't. The addiction for this game is kind of working for me. um, yeah, how do you feel, LD? Did you also test? I assume you did a bit.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, how do you feel?
I've been playing a fair amount, and I feel pretty positive. Like you say, it's a really, really different game, radically different. There are, I guess, I had a few general observations that maybe they're right, maybe they're not quite so right, but it's sort of like going on feeling for now. It's because the main thing that shifted is that lots of those catch up, what we identified last week as kind of like big catch up cards, are gone. Um, there are a lot more situations where I'm feeling like I can actually win a game, if that makes sense. Like earlier on in a game, I'm kind of able to spot how it will play out from there, and it's not quite as back and forward as it's been. I think that deck building at the moment is incredibly, incredibly important. It's basically your only way to get like a major edge over your opponent at the moment is to just make sure you're really built correctly, focusing on like on the draw, like what can you actually effectively do on the draw in every matchup, to make sure you've got a decent strategy. Because yeah, there were a load of versatile cards before, like Crab and Fox, that were kind of, you can make arguments that they're better on the draw or on the play, but they were like roundly pretty good in both. And they are just gone, and lots of cards that feel like that are just gone. So there's less flexibility. You're having to build your deck to do specific stuff rather than having piles that were very efficient at doing basically everything. And yeah, that's the main challenge for me at the moment, is trying to work out how I can get a good matchup spread with anything, because everything I've tested, some things have been great, and I'm excited to talk about some decks, but at least everything has kind of had a hole in its matchup spread, and something that I think, right, this is an issue on the draw against this deck. Obviously, you can't expect to beat everything, but like that's kind of my prevailing feeling, is that it's a major new deck building challenge, and I'm not quite there yet with it. But I have been working really hard and got made some good progress. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, interested to get your like your overall views on how the game has felt to you and how different it feels.
Mm, yeah, it feels very different. We have a low resource meta game actually in
Hmm.
every deck, I would say. Like there's no really good card draw available. The only really good card for card draw is maybe Finders Keeper such, but it's slow,
Hmm.
and then so it's like we have low cards in hand in nearly any game on turn 3 to 4. I don't know.
Hmm.
And that leads to rethink a lot of things. The problem I see a bit, it's just my expression, my experience in testing, is that Ember Steel Akko is an absolute crazy good deck in this format. I
Hmm.
tested the deck a lot, and I don't know. It can even win on the draw against a lot of decks. I don't feel like I really crush it with any deck I built, and that makes it very powerful. I also think Tiana is even better than the people think. People say it's not good on the draw, but I think we have a lot of these stalled boards where nobody can quest, and then even on the draw she can like really break that up. And I'm really high on that card, and if I would play a tournament right now, it is very early stage, like it's not then I would surely play Ember Steel Aggro. That's my feeling.
Sure.
And honestly, all my energy went into beating that deck on the draw, and it's really hard to do that. I didn't find anything that is really consistently doing that, but maybe, yeah, I'm pretty sure there will be something. But yeah, but honestly, it's an aggro deck on the draw. You can't probably not expect to beat it just consistently on the draw. Probably, I think that's just the nature of the deck. Or how would you say?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like people love to hate on aggro as an archetype, don't they, when it's good? But a game does need to have aggro be a tier 1 archetype sometimes for some variety, and so it's not just entirely mid-range battles forever. Yeah, I kind of agree. I think that most of my focus has been on trying to beat Amber Steel on the draw, and then from there I basically end up engineering decks that have worse matchups into Blurple and Blue Green, and then I work backwards to try and see,
Yeah.
okay, how do I hedge a little bit? And that's the main tension you have at the moment. Is like, you're probably going to have to beat some amount of Amber Steel aggro. So jury's out on exactly how strong the deck is, but you can't argue that it's at least very explosive and very good, and likely the best thing you could be playing on the play. So you need a strategy for that, and then you have to work out how to not completely contort your deck for that thing such that you can't
Yeah.
beat these like big blue decks essentially. So that's the main tension at the moment. And what I was kind of gesturing towards before with like talking about like the lack of flexible cards that are good in lots of positions, the thing I'm finding really tough is trying to find cards that can perform multiple different roles in different matchups, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
like the way you would utilize your foxes in green purple in the set in the previous format, there were very different things you could do. Basically, you can hold them and prioritize using them for bursts of reach, or you can prioritize card draw, you can prioritize just getting out as fast as possible to challenge the board. These flexible things are not there so much, or if they're not, I've not found them yet. I'm not seeing where they are. So it means that if you want your answers to a specific deck, they tend to come at the cost of making your other matchups worse, which is arguably what all TCGs should be. You shouldn't
Yeah.
expect to beat everything all the time. So I suspect it will shake out as um, a reasonably well balanced sort of self-governing metagame. But for the time being, it's like, yeah, I just want to be able to beat Amber Steel on the draw, and yeah, that is really really tough. It basically, if they play a dock, I lose, and if they don't, I can win. Is like my conclusion. If they don't find a dock, they do not have the resources to win. If they find it, they have exactly enough resources to win. Yeah, just really struggle.
Yeah, maybe I think I won even a lot of games without a dog. But
Okay.
I'm right now just a bit. I don't want to be dooming, and that's not what I want to do. But it
Mhm.
feels like the problem is for me also with the deck is like if we go a little step against away from like Tiana Tech or something, by of course we want to beat something else and stuff, then we
Yep.
get totally crushed again by the deck, and then and
Exactly.
that's
Yep.
that's that's the threatening thing about the deck. I think that
Hmm.
makes it very 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 strong. Steel in general is obviously also very good, just not for
Hmm.
dog, but also for, I think Calhoun is a crazy card in this metagame. Um, yeah, Calhoun and Tiana together is a crazy synergy, I think, and yeah, it just feels like it. If we find more ways to yeah, don't rely on challenging that much, then it gets better. But it's actually a little bit hard with the card pool we have.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough.
Yeah.
There are far more of these board states late game where it goes back to feeling a bit similar to how things kind of did in right back in set one, even where you're playing a reasonably low resource game, except some of those were pretty high resource games with like Friends and Whole New World and stuff. But you would generally get a bit stalled out in the late game, and you get to these positions where actually maybe set one isn't the best example, but what I'm basically trying to describe
I know what you mean, yeah.
You draw your card, you put it into play, and you're like, you can kind of reliably count on the 1 or 2 lore that's going to get, as long as you are ahead and your plan is put my thing in play. It doesn't get removed because the removal, like we're both out of resources, and like you either top deck your removal and like you're putting things into play. Your opponent is hoping to chain draw Elsa's or Hades or something like that, and it's just a first mover advantage that kind of goes hand in hand with the way this game is designed. That has always been regulated by the quality of removal. And with the quality of removal down, it becomes quite tough to not get into these states where if you are at parity on resources, it's just kind of like a bit of a top decking race with a significant advantage to whoever managed to get ahead in the early game.
I know the comparison with set one because set one was also like this. Oh, I top deck this Cusco and I win, and so that this is like, oh, 2 lore. It's very easy to just sneak out the last amount of lore in this metagame.
Yeah.
That's I think that's what you wanted to say, nearly.
Basically, it's like what we've come to know as true reach in the game. So like go instant lore gain becomes a little bit less relevant because the threat of removal on our just characters is so much lower. So it's like you don't need to have reach be like one of your crutches so much anymore because you naturally will get to quest more often for the first time with your characters if you are just able to get ahead decently in the race in the early game.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Do we want to go over some decks we worked on? I think that's
let's have a look at them because I can see one that you sent in particular, and I think we've both drawn a very similar conclusion about about one of the ways to get ahead in this early metagame. So yeah, maybe if you want to just pick one.
I just want to make a short update for the Racer deck because we hyped it both last week so much, and I think there's still potential there. I'm still working on it, and I think it's worth working on it. But there are some issues I experienced in the first games that I initially didn't know how to overcome. But actually today I had an idea and I didn't test it yet. So that's just my idea I had. The deck did really that what I wanted it to do, and that's stalling the board very much because like your opponent doesn't want to quest out in these crazy trading cards like Wreck-It Ralph and Candy Drift. I found out the 1-drops are just too important. Also the other 1-drop, although we play no locations, but it's so important that they can trade favorably. So like if you buff the 1-drop, it's way more efficient, of course, obviously, than you buff a 2-drop or something to trade into something. So I think the 1-drops are good enough just to make it a good trade. So what I really always achieved is like have these stalled boards, but then the problem is the deck can't race very good. So it's like you have these boards, but then they quest, and then it's actually funny because it's a Razor deck, like
the fact they can't race is pretty. It's sad, but also at least a bit funny. Sad but funny.
Because like you don't want to quest out with all this stuff and make your opponent trade it favorably. So and then I thought today one of things to overcome this is these mini mouse. I thought could be pretty good because like this is a 4-cost 0/8 bodyguard that
Mhm.
gets +1 strength for each 1 damage on her. I think it's not a bad card, honestly. I think
No, it's
your
decent.
your opponent needs to trade like multiple things in it, and probably the second and the first character dies when he wants to kill it.
Mhm.
So most of the time they are then like incentivized to raise themselves. If you play this bodyguard quest out
Yep.
with your stuff, and then your opponent probably don't wants to trade it, so he raises himself, and then you can like trade all your stuff with your Wrecking Ralph and Candy Drift stuff.
Mm.
And that's an idea. I don't know how good it is. Still, I didn't test it yet with this new idea. I just want to make an update. Pongo was great in testing. In all my testing, Pongo was really good. I cut a bit of these, situational cards, situational razors that didn't do much. You will be surprised maybe that the 4-cost King Candy isn't in anymore, because the problem is like it's such a dead card often, and then your opponent, of course, if they don't play around it, and then you have this on turn 4, can trade into something. It didn't happen that much, and it's really really low statted.
Mhm.
So it didn't do much in my testing, and the uninkable really hurt. So I just want to proactively banish their stuff with the Sisu. The 3-cost Sisu has some synergy with the Vanellope that can decrease your opponent's strength, the shift one, or the 2-cost
Mhm.
Vanellope. So that's a bit of removal. And the rest is still the same. I think I like the Daisy Ducks right now, because like it's very easy
Nice.
to sneak out your opponent's last cards in their hand.
Yep.
I don't know. Did you test it also a bit, or?
I played a little bit with racers. Yeah, I mean, early on in the week after we recorded the last episode, that was when I was playing around and messaged you about the Sisu that was doing good work for me and
Yeah.
felt like it was kind of filling a bit of a gap as well. Also providing an extra evasive body, which is so important in the format, to make sure you actually have a good density of things that can take out evasives. And just candy drifting with Sisu to trade up with a big evasive was great after it'd already taken something out. So yeah, I played it, but I can't say I put a huge amount of time into it. I ran into the same things you did, which is that on paper the deck is extremely efficient because it trades so much better, because it has so much more strength and trading power in the early game than a lot of these things. That rests on the fact that your opponent is actually just questing out every turn, basically.
Yeah.
If they were questing out every turn, this would be the best deck in the format. But actually, the boards get really stalled really quick, and you start to struggle because everything that you have is essentially tailored towards setting up incredibly swingy trades, which are great when they happen, and when they don't happen,
You do
you
nothing.
kind of do nothing.
Yeah.
Your stuff all sort of quest for one. So it's one of those decks that I definitely think has high potential, but I moved on reasonably quickly because ran into that issue, which is that like yeah, you get people sometimes, and it's reasonably easy to pull off some of these big blowout turns, but the smarter your opponents are, the less this deck does, and that is just a quality I don't like. I can't have a deck really which is like
Yeah.
that performs worse against better players. It's really if anyone you're almost like completely dependent on your opponent having never seen what this deck does. You know, if they
Yeah.
haven't, they will get crushed. And if they have, they're like, okay, cool. I just don't go sideways and wait until I essentially win the board fully, and you just play a bunch of weak bodies.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's
Yeah.
just
I will see how
it.
it turns out. I will still work on it a bit, but what I really want to say is like 4-cost 4/4 vanilla. I could see them being playable, and not only in this
Mhm.
deck. I could see them playing in other decks as well, because that's the best stat line you can have right now.
Yep.
It's such a great stat line. I could see that. I could see us going back
Yeah.
to vanillas.
Yeah. I
Maybe.
completely agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have also an update for one of your decks, or one of your?
Yes, I do. So last week when we showed some lists, we were not quite. We didn't have all the reveals yet. Now we do. The whole set's revealed. So I have an update for my Max Goof Green Steel deck. When we put the video together, I'm sure people will see the correct cards. But just for your information, the Archimedes is the Max Goof.
Yeah. And the item is the item.
Yeah, the item is the fishing rod.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yep, which is a card that I know is divisive, but I have been having fun playing for the reasons I kind of said last week. There are so many good targets here. But yeah, one of the more impactful.
No, I think that you didn't say it last week. I think it was not.
Oh, did I not?
No.
Oh,
I
maybe
don't
I'm
think...
confusing it with just a conversation I had.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, then I will fully talk about it now.
Uh-huh.
Perfect. So yeah, how we moved on from last week is I put forward this proposition for like a Max Goof Green Steel tempo type deck that was trying to, Mother Knows Best something. It was basically reliant on getting off a really good song or singing a 3-cost song on turn 4 to produce these massive tempo swings that can do. So having the full anti-aggro package, which I consider to be like hooks, Calhouns, Lilos, some volume of slightly outstatted bodies like the 3-cost Genie, the things that are going to help you catch up, and then also having the ability to maintain tempo once you're ahead with a lot of these songs and just doing things like singing a strength and then bringing it back to hand with a Max Goof and going again the next turn. Very, very impactful. But the thing that sort of swung me towards this build is that we had Sudden Chill revealed to be coming back, and that is, I think, actually a very relevant card. It's something people are not excited about or don't seem to be very excited about because of the lack of Prince John, but one conclusion it seems like we're both drawing from looking at some of your decks is that because it's a low resource game at the moment, the quality of card draw is so much lower, it's so much easier to set up these big turns where you like empty out the last 2 cards in your opponent's hand. So like it was pretty difficult at times when you were playing a discard style deck to just truly grind your opponent out of resources if they just kind of turtled up a bit and focused on card draw. The tools aren't really there to focus on card draw in the same sense at the moment, and often if you just play a regular game out, like a turn 4 chip and then sing a Sudden Chill with something, gets their last 2 cards. Crucially, it's getting their docks, that sort of thing. When they go down to those last couple of cards in hand, you have the ability to just clear them out, which is really, really important. Has a massive, massive impact on the game, obviously, to just put them into that top decking situation. And it's so easy to disrupt the patterns people are playing at the moment because they're so low resource and so linear. They just go ink player 1 drop, ink player 2 drop, ink player 3 or 4 drop, depending on if they ramped, and like then they're looking at a 2 to 3 card hand, and it's like, cool, okay, then you can just snipe that really easily with a build like this. And that's basically like the long and short of the update, is just trying to focus on engineering these turns where you snipe their last resources, put pressure on with Merfolk, and then if you can hit something with 2-cost Ursula, like she's such a in debate card right now. I just can't tell if she's good or that important yet. Yeah, it's so hard to tell how important she is. All I know is when I've played against Steel and I do run her out on turn 2 and find a strength, it essentially wins me the game.
Yeah, it is. Totally agree.
There's one good removal card in their entire deck, and you just take it away, putting -1 resources. Such a bigger swing now. So when it does hit, it's huge. And then playing Family Fishing Pole, couple copies of this just to test it out. I've really enjoyed it. Like my perfect 4 ink turn is ink something, play my fishing pole. It's exerted. You can't activate it the turn you play it. Then play a dock, and I draw my 2 cards and pass the turn. And then the next turn I get to set up a full. I get to set up playing the stuff I drew plus rebuying my dock to go again the next turn or something. And all of this stuff, a bunch of stuff in this deck plays really nicely with like having a bounce effect, an ability to return and replay something. So the fishing pole's giving you a little extra reach. You can gain some lore. It's enabling you to set up turns where, like, you for a 1 ink investment, you return your go-go to your hand and get to pull some extra reach out. You can return and replay Anna for all of the effects she does. You can return and replay Doc, which is incredibly powerful. You can do the same with Chip. You can do the same with Lilo. Yeah, that's basically the concept, and it's been reasonably effective. Like I say, it's got the anti-aggro package, and it's got the ability to try and run the big decks out of resources. The big gap in it at the moment is that it has essentially no top end, so that when you put those big decks out of resources, they very much can out top deck you.
Like a
you are
Hades or
challenging
something,
them.
or
Yeah, you
yeah.
challenge them to draw their best stuff. Sometimes they do draw it, and that's a problem. So
Okay, yeah,
it's
I know what you mean.
always been the biggest flaw of discard strategy is that
Yeah.
your opponent is allowed to draw a new card every turn. So
Yeah.
we so far haven't found a way of completely preventing that. So yeah, for now that's the position we're in. But as a proof of concept, I've been very happy. It's something I'll continue working on, and just like I say, the whole basic idea of like strengthening something, buying it back with Max Goof and doing it again feels very good, and something I'm very interested in continuing to do.
2 questions.
Yes, go ahead.
Did you try because it seems like an obvious inclusion? Did you try the shift Max Goof?
Yes, and the problem is we didn't ink high enough to play it without the shift target. So the drawback of Max Goof, of the small one, is obviously it's a pretty small body, outsized pretty quickly. I don't like playing shift characters where I don't believe in my deck's ability to naturally run out the shift version without its shift target, if that makes sense.
There is no other target, right? There is no.
I don't think there's any other one that I would want to be playing if there is. So it was something to consider, obviously, but it for me felt like I inked it a ton. I failed to shift it a ton. I don't think you're wrong for playing it. Like when it goes off, it really goes off. But for me, it was a very swingy experience where I was frequently unhappy to have it in my hand.
No, I can see that. It's not a this deck. You basically never want to hardcast it, I guess.
No.
You don't ink that high most of the time, I would say. Maybe you ink that high, but it's like pretty slow.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it's definitely one to keep an eye on, but I was underwhelmed with my first experiences with it.
The other question I have is I'm really high on Heffalumps and Wuzzles right now because I think it shuts down Tiana and kills Iago and Cobra. And I think it would be a good it seems like an obvious inclusion in a deck like this. Do you like it, or do you just don't like the card?
No, in principle, I like the card, but it's not something I've tested yet. I'd be eager to try it out. I've not tried playing with that here. It has a space.
When Will My Life Begin also kills. You can also do it.
Oh, that's standing in for Standout, the new song.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, but that can also kill a Diablo.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, nice. I will be excited how this will continue. Because you will surely work on it still.
Yeah.
How did it?
I'm enjoying more.
How did it do against Ember Steel Aggro?
I felt fine against Ember Steel. So, like I say, it all comes down to those same lines of like Hook, Calhoun, Lilo. That's how you combat them early. You need to be able to, if they do curve out perfectly with a Tiana, you do need to be able to strength it.
Yeah.
Or, just have a reliable plan for getting through early with cards like that. It didn't feel too bad. I felt like I had enough of a plan there to get something done. So, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, nice. People will don't be afraid. We will cover green purple later. No worries. Yeah. Before people get too afraid. I just want to show you my next list. I call it It's a new creation. I call it Zoo because it's like in other TCGs, I said decks like this would be called like a Zoo
Yep.
deck, like a bunch of tiny characters that have a
Yep.
different purpose and stuff. It's green yellow, and just for you to know, sorry for listeners, we couldn't make the updates before recording. So Build a Lizard that you see here is actually the new one cost character that draws one and discards one. So that's the only difference here. I was really surprised with a lot of cards here in this deck. I built a deck because I went through the card pool, and I was kind of intrigued by a lot of cards. All the green yellow dual ink cards overperformed in my testing. First, I want to point out is Peg. Might seem a bit weird, but what you do with this deck is basically go triple one drop first 2 turns, and then you play Peg on turn 3. Peg says if you have 3 or more characters in play, you can exert it to draw a card. You can also like on turn 4 then play another character to make it work. It's not that hard. It may seem hard, but it's not that hard to make it work. And then you do this, quest out with all your stuff, and your opponent has like the weird decision of trading all your high questers or trading this pack out. It's sometimes a really weird decision for them because like pack can draw additional cards. So the card really overperformed in my testing. It was really cool. Because four strength is not 4 willpower is not that easy to remove for a lot of decks. So that card easily drew me like 2 or 3 cards in a game, and I think that's much in this deck right now, in this meta right now.
Yeah, but that's what you're looking for, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have access to dock, you need something that's going to draw you 2 cards essentially. So
and it's like
seems like a decent option.
Yeah, it's and it's inkable, and its deadline is also not too bad. It can also trade stuff with your Merryweather or your Tramp and stuff, so it's not like completely useless. The other card, which really surprised me, was Perla. What you see here, that's such a crazy board control tool. You play her, she can quest always, like because she's evasive, and your opponent is it's really annoying for them because like. If they quest and you have a lot of these cheap characters on the board, they can all trade then their stuff back. And yeah, I don't know. It was so good in my testing. I was really surprised by this card because like all these cheap characters can just trade all the stuff, and just the threat of it is really annoying for your opponent. And
I totally see that. It looks really. It's the kind of card I've not really looked twice at, but I can completely see how
annoying this is.
Completely.
The other card is Car, the 4 drop.
Sure.
I didn't know this card, but then in our Discord, someone told me this, and I was actually intrigued to try it out. It can lead to some locks in the end game where you like you said, you have like this end game situation sometimes where your opponent plays like everything they draw and then quest out, and this can you quest, make it reckless. They need to challenge into your stuff, get -2 strength, probably die by that, or you can trade it afterwards, and then next character again and again. Like in the end game, like this can be a lock. And what also I liked about this color combination is that you're able to play Chip and Daisy Duck. So you have really reliable these turn 4 like discard stuff. And again, the star was really the big lady. That was crazy. I don't know. In this meta, this effect is so powerful. Of just if it just gets you a Banzai and a Go-Go or something, it's so powerful because it's just 2 cards, and in my limited testing, I tested it a good bunch, but it's really hard to say. It felt a bit favored into Ember Steel aggro, because you have also Lewis is in a weird spot. Maybe we can talk about it in particular soon. But you have a lot of reckless stuff. Heffalumps was also great into Blurple, and I really like that card. And Blurple is also a good matchup because you can go really fast. Also, this lady, the 1-cost lady, sometimes you just play Merryweather on turn 2 and bumper, and then she just quests for 3, and so crazy. If you go lady, Murfolk Tramp, for example, that's so absurd. She quests for 3, then you have 3 characters on board. It's so hard for them to come back. So the decks like Blurple, I mean, or other slow decks. And if not, she set up your shift line, so shift 3 is also very, very cheap. Yeah, that's the deck I'm this
Nice.
week the highest on. That was the best performing
Nice.
deck in my testing. I don't know how it looks for you.
I yeah, I really like it, and I think it's such a good example to me of like there is thinking here going on in your card choices that you're successfully doing what tons of people will struggle to do at the moment, which is thinking truly differently about like this format of you need to look at stuff that just has that completely reevaluate certain things and look at what they might be able to help you achieve now in the absence of a load of the other stuff. And I totally see it. I mean, the lines all make sense to me. Like 5-cost lady is one of the in theory, when you've got good 1 and 2 drops, one of the best draw engines in the game now. There aren't too many cards like that are going to actually net you plus 2 resources when you play it. I love being able to play Chip and Daisy, like I said before, just sniping those last cards is so important and putting that resource pressure on. I don't with so few things effectively drawing you cards and the big blue decks being so good at just running out their resources and then using their extra ink to play the few things that are very good ways of drawing cards, like you say, Finders Keepers, like Big Anna and Blurple, that sort of thing. You have to find some way of constraining them, so they have to make tough choices at least about what they ink, and put that pressure on them, try to prevent them from getting into the position because their linear game plans are very strong, just like Amber Steel. Their kind of linear run out, if they are undisrupted, it's really, really good. So yeah, I love those as some extra tools. I love car. I think, yeah, there's a ton of concepts here I really like. Really nice ideas.
The
Yeah,
only
really
thing
like
that
it.
might surprise people is no Daisy here, like the one drop Daisy.
Yeah,
It could help you go under Blurple and some stuff, but then I have to cut the Daisy and chips again because like that was really
exactly.
weird in my testing because
Yeah,
like and I think that's a good engine of the deck, like the Daisy and chips. So and it's very, very counterintuitive, counter, yeah, with the 1-cost Daisy. It's just not good synergy, of course. So Daisy felt weird in my testing, the 1-cost Daisy, but
absolutely. If you want to be playing that resource denial package, you can't be playing you can't be putting a Daisy into play and just giving your opponent all the stuff they need to discard to that, because otherwise those cards become absolutely terrible.
yeah.
So I think you've fallen on the right side of that exchange. And it's very interesting actually just how Daisy feels at the moment
Mm,
anyway. You know, that like the fact that the quality of removal is so much lower. She was the best aggressive 1-drop before and remains the best aggressive 1-drop. However, the format around her has also shifted to make opposing Daisies the best draw engine in the game. So it's her downside got so much higher too. So it's, yeah, really interesting card to evaluate and think about at the moment.
yeah. Also Lewis. I don't know how you feel about Lewis, but he was very, very underwhelming in my latest testing because
Yeah, one of the issues I spotted with Lewis very early on in my own deck building was, okay, if Lewis becomes the default way that these green decks are shutting down aggressive openings on turn 3, well then in all my steel decks I'll just make sure I'm playing Hook and Calhoun so that I can take an ink positive trade up, and whatever you gave Reckless to, I can kind of just save.
yeah,
It's yeah,
yeah. And
the ways out of Lewis are much easier.
the problem is I don't see Calhoun and Hook leaving even if Lewis wouldn't exist. So
No, exactly. Like there's no
that's the problem. So I
yeah,
could
they're
see.
they're part of your absolutely essential anti-aggro package in these steel decks, and they also incidentally break you out of the positions that Lewis puts you in.
In
It's a
all
really bad time for any card when like people are countering you without trying to, if that makes sense. There are some cards that just like they just line up badly into cards that people are playing anyway, and those tend to be not so great. But the card is also not bad.
No,
right?
it's not bad.
Like
It's
Lewis
not
is
bad.
certainly not bad at all.
No, certainly not. But in all my testing, I made it one single time that I actually got a Tiana with the Lewis. Like
Sure.
one single time. Like either they sing or they have another, or they play a Lilo and then trade some. Even then, even if they have no hook or Calhoun, then they play Lilo and trade with the other stuff, and it's very. You think, oh, great Tiana answer, but it's not more than these, not more than decent. I think Heffalum's helped me a lot more against Tiana.
Yeah.
Because you just sing it, and then don't lose tempo. Yeah. Okay, that's just
nice.
I
really
still
like it.
I work on this and keep you all updated. It's
Yeah,
a cool
great.
deck.
Looking forward to it.
It's a lot of fun to play with this deck. I'm really not sure also about the 3-cost lady. That's another card like Daisy, because it's sometimes it leads to I just win the game on turn 3, of course. But then if not, it's really weird because it's so low value, the lady, because you're like, I don't know. It's like you empty your hand, and then if you can't, I don't know how you feel about the 3-cost lady. It's still strong. It's still strong. It's
You started that last sentence with sometimes it wins you the game on turn 3. I think when it's inkable, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it ends the game for you, and then at other times you ink it. And it's a bad top deck basically, but it's also not a nightmare top deck because it's another 2-quester in a world where it requires, like, it can get cleaned up really easily. Like if you top deck it and put it into play, and your opponent is holding an Elsa, like awful, obviously, but it's still not a terrible threat on its own. So yeah, I think it's very strong. But I do see your point. It's another one of these things which is like a part of these very, very strong linear runouts, and outside of that feels a little weak. But
sometimes you can also shift.
That's your price of entry. Got to pay to play. If it was good in all situations, it would be
that's true.
Nightmare. So
it also can be shifted here. That's the small upside here.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you another idea?
Yeah, I do. So last week I showed a blue steel deck that I was excited for, because I just think like this steel core basically of like the new Lilo I think is really good. I think Calhoun's incredibly important, and I think that with a light ramp package you can just get up to a load of big stuff which rumbles really well and quests really well too. In this list, Lilo is Lilo, and the Snow White is standing in for 3 copies of the new Scar, which is a legendary I took a look at and thought, not for me, thank you. I'm not interested. And then I took another look, and I really like it. Almost just for like the little mini Lumiere effect. Earlier on, you said about this. You said about how important it is, like 4/4 as a stat line. You get to push your 3/4s to 4/4s. You get to push all your 3 strength stuff to hit for 4, which is very, very important. And just enabling you to trade up massively. And sometimes you're just going to get big exchanges, like where you quest with a Lawrence and cash it in for draw 5, discard 2, and go +3 cards. Is pretty solid. So no hooks here, which is debatable. I have been getting by okay without them. Instead, playing for the like Jasmine shift package with all these allies. It plays out like a Diablo type opening. It's very hard to hit this thing for 5 really early, a lot of the time, and you tend to get a couple cards back. It's really easy to slowly get up to these like Tink and Vincenzo turns, and I'm so astronomically high on Vincenzo. It's like a card that I've been pushing, and I really
for reason.
think it's phenomenal. Like when you are in these low resource games where you don't really want to, you need to be removing stuff because removals at such a premium, and you also need to be developing threats, of course, so that your perfect situation is I put something into play and it removes your thing from play. All of these kind of like Maldragon-esque effects. If we had like Tremaine and Medusa, they'd be phenomenal in a format like this. So yeah, anything that does, it's just like Smash just stapled to a gigantic body that quests for crazy. Yeah, really been so high on it. And even just like playing a Tipo into a big body like Mouse Queen. Like the Mouse Queen is not a proxy. Like that's just the Mouse Queen. I'm just playing that to add to the high ally density because just like these outsized bodies just tend to get a lot done in these games. I've been really happy with Pleakley. Just really nice for just ramping up to these things. Quite often I've had games where on the play I will play a Jasmine, shift Jasmine quest, get a card back. Next turn, get
I
another
really like
card
that
back, and then Pleakley the two of them into the Inkwell. Pleakley the shifted Jasmine into the
Oh,
Inkwell. Like
nice.
as soon as they've developed their Calhoun. So then you ink up to 5, and then as they go into as they pass from their 3 ink turn, you go into a 6 ink turn. Pretty sick.
That is sick. Oh, I really like that.
Yeah,
I really like that.
yeah, yeah. When they're
Um,
shifted with Pleakley, they both go in. So pretty big, and you still have these good Lilo lines for anti-aggro. Your density of allies is super high for both Scar and for your Jasmine and for your that's it.
for the listeners, what
For
does
them.
Scar again do? The new Scar?
Scar's a 5 cost uninkable. It's a 5/4 that quests for 2, and it says all your allies get +1 strength, and at the end of your turn, if Scar is exerted, you may banish one of your allies to draw cards equal to their strength, then discard 2.
Oh, that's massive.
So
That's
so
massive.
most of the time it takes you +2 cards, and I guess you're looking to just like ditch a body that's not very, let's say you've hit something for 3 with a Pleakley and it's sat there on 3 damage, and just cash it in for draw 4, discard 2. Pretty gigantic.
Yeah, it's also not like completely useless. It's a solid stat line. If you have no good synergy right now. And the
it can draw you out of like when you're in top deck resource battles. It can absolutely just swing board states with its +1 strength effect. Like it's way more relevant. Like pushing Calhoun to hit for 4 is.
I can see
Calhoun's
that.
not an ally. Calhoun,
no,
ignore that. She's
Colin,
not an ally. I'm
Mr.
I'm doing
Smee.
better this week. I'm catching all of my I'm catching all of my mistakes live instead of having to apologize in YouTube comments. So we call that character growth. But like pushing all these 3 strength allies to hit for 4 is like really impactful. It's really relevant. The 1-drop slot is like I love shifting Jasmine on the play.
I
You
can
can
see
run
that.
away. You can do a Diablo style runaway with a game resource wise, and I really like doing that. So that's what I'm doing.
I like
the
that.
deck is solid, man. This deck is actually really solid.
I can totally see that. Yeah, I really like that. I really think this is strong. And actually, just the Mouse Queen is good enough. I think.
Yeah.
Our Mouse Queen. For listeners who don't know,
it's our card.
Yeah, it's our card because it was our first reveal for our podcast. So it will always have a big place in our heart, and that she might be actually playable is actually crazy.
That's kind of a deck I've been having a ton of fun with. So it's been awesome. Yeah, it's like I'd say if it's got a weakness, it's in its ability to deal with significantly high numbers of evasives. You don't want to get behind too much. It's the Smee, the Genie, they help. But when you're facing a bunch of 4-cost genies, you will really feel the fact that your Vincenzo shoots for 3 and not 4. Those
I could
lost a
also
couple games to
maybe
some 3 damage genies.
see Blurple a bit problematic. I could guess. I don't know. Maybe it's
Yeah,
not like that.
they can absolutely outpace you. You are quite dependent on getting up to those.
Yeah.
You basically need to get nice and ahead on resources with the Jasmine early, and then hope to just keep rumbling with big things like
Yeah.
Vincenzo's. But between Scar, Doc, and Jasmine, you have a lot of ways to keep drawing cards.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
It's good.
That's actually the how can I say, the challenge of this new meta game, because like my aim is for now like beating Blurple and Ember Steel, and that's like also very, very, very different to beat them, I would say, because like Blurple, I think there's nearly only aggression that you can really reliable beat. Yeah, it's really hard to out resource them or something. It's
yeah, it definitely can be.
So aggression is like the obvious way to beat them, and Amber Steel aggro is more like these like these Tinkerbell cards and stuff that help you win that matchup, and they don't do much into Blurple, so it's a really, really challenging challenging deck building right now. Yeah. Okay. Then I have promises to fulfill. We got a lot of questions in the comments about green purple, obviously, because that's our specialty. And that's the list I'm playing right now, the Pinocchios Atumbos. And it's hard to say. I'm not the highest on it, sadly, because it felt not very good into Ember Steel aggro. It got a bit better into Blurple because there's no bell anymore, and we are a bit more aggressive even than in the past. So it's like against Blurple, it's fine. Again, the Lewis didn't do that much that I hope he does. And yeah, the Heffalumps did way more for that in my testing. And yeah, it's still a solid deck. It has reasonably high amount of card draw for a deck in general, I think. And Yelena was very good in my testing because like she also quests for 2. I think she can do some powerful tempo swings. That's why I also play Cusco, because with Cusco the Yelena is often quite good. Yeah, I think the rest is probably not that outstanding. I don't know if you played green purple right now, or how you feel about it, or if you tested anything about it yet.
Yeah, I played some, and I think I feel the same way as you. I think it's still a very, very strong on the play deck. So yeah, it's one of those examples of decks suffering from having some of its best reactive tools go away, and so the linear game plan is still very good. And it still has great game against decks like Blurple and stuff on the play, like you say. The bell being gone means that like that was kind of like one of our lose modes against them in the past, and now we are significantly stronger into them, which is great. Go-Go does huge work against a lot of these decks. No one can really contest with that sort of amount of reach. It just, the fact that you can't clean up these boards with Be Prepareds and stuff means that often when people leave characters with 4 damage on them, it's just there forever until you decide you're ready for it to go, which means you can wait to get big Go-Go's off, which is great. But the problem is just the 3-drop slot. We went from having like far too much to include to nothing, basically. Yolana's like the best of a bad bunch. I agree the card's pretty good, but I'm not blown away.
No, blown away I'm not. No, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's if we had retained just Kit, for example, it would be a radically different deck because we could.
Oh my gosh.
We could all you would need is kit for this to feel good, but just you can't have such low impact turn threes at the moment. It doesn't feel like, really. It makes it sound like I'm extremely low on the deck, which I'm not. It's just like, compared to the steel tempo decks, you basically, what you gain is phenomenal card draw, and actually this deck top decks pretty well, because between the pull the levers, the genies, those sorts of things, like, you can find great late game card draw, which is brilliant, and is going to enable you to win a lot of games once everyone's kind of stalled out on resources. But it's just navigating up to that point, and I really don't like feeling like I have so few tools to get back in control of a game on the draw.
Yeah.
Like, for me, that was like the essence of what I loved about green purple, was that I have these aggressive play patterns where I can just play fast on the play. Brilliant. I know how to win those games on the play. When I'm on the draw, I also have a really good suite of things, which are to be fair, mostly the 3-drops that enable you to swing tempo back in your favor if your opponent opened faster than you. So, and it was your ability to kind of shift gears was like 100% the strength for me, and that is not quite so there. Like, you've got a ton of cards that, like, the Rafiki reveal, for example, was very, very needed. Before that was there, I
Oh
was
yeah.
kind of in utter despair, because it was like none of our 1-drops do anything on the draw. Most of our 2-drops are also very weak on the draw, and the 3-drops, well, you kind of have to Lewis and hope it's good, and then in practice that turned out to be not so good. Certainly Rafiki helps and is a solid gold locker of 4 copies in this deck. I barely think the deck functions without it. You can outpace your slower decks, which is great, but you need quite specific runouts to get back in control of the aggro matchups, and you will lose a fair amount of them, I think, purely because your 3-drop slot is so much weaker than it used to be.
Yeah, it's nearly non-existent. White
Yeah.
Rose is a. I mean, I searched for, yeah, because like proactively we have no 3-drop. Honestly, it's like White Rose or nothing, and White Rose
You
is
play
like,
Prince Charming as
yeah,
the ward prince. He's pretty
yeah,
good, but
yeah,
again, it's another
mediocre card.
just like, yeah, it's like a mediocre aggressive card,
Um,
basically. That
few words about the genie. I tested a new genie. I really didn't like it. I don't know. It was way too late in my games. I don't know
Yeah,
how you feel about it.
yeah, similar. I think
Yeah,
it's flimsy,
yeah.
and
It's
unfortunately doesn't do enough on the turn it's played to
and
have the
Dumbo.
swingy effect you're looking for.
Dumbo is good enough. I think he's
Yeah,
like
oh yeah,
also not great, but sometimes if you're able to stabilize, and then he can win you the game, and that's good enough for an inkable card, I think. And then yeah, I think that's a good addition, but it's not the addition we needed that much. I think for green purple we much more needed a crab or something, or something like that. Because our card draw is already decent, for
exactly.
yeah. So it's okay,
Yeah,
but it's not outstanding for me.
yeah.
Co-
It's you for me. I wouldn't be comfortable saying that like green purple is not good, because it does have
yeah,
some really good matchups, and it actually has like very good matchups into some things like blurple, which just, you know, a lot of other decks just are kind of giving up as their bad matchup at the moment to make sure they beat all the aggressive stuff. Um, but there's also not really enough to excite me into wanting to put all my time into it.
yeah. I mean, it's just not appealing. It's not like you think, "Oh, this is great right now" or something. It's not like, okay, that should be good. When I go through the card pool, I don't think, "Oh, this will beat Ember Steel Aggro." So it's like that's what I'm looking for right now, and that's way more appealing to me in other colors, honestly. And I just,
Mm,
but
I'll
I,
tell you,
yeah,
I'll tell you what it reminds me of right now, and I wonder if you feel the same.
mm,
Is how green purple felt at the end of set 2, when you're like, there is so obviously something here. It's not a bad deck at all. The pieces are there, but some other decks are kind of doing what we're trying to do better, and there is a missing piece. And
Yeah.
then Kit got revealed, and the
Ursula.
deck. Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Ursula got
Well,
revealed.
yeah,
Yeah.
Ursula for set 3. When was
Yeah.
Kit set 4? No, Kit was
No,
set 3
also,
too,
but
right?
both were set 3, but I think Ursula was
Yeah.
way more important, I guess. I don't know. It's arguable, but it's like,
Well,
yeah.
basically there was something that would like a missing piece that the deck didn't have that was going to enable it to like fill one of its major gaps and start to do something better than some of the other decks in these colors. Right now, like Kit could be printed into the next set, and I would go from being quite low to very high on this deck.
Mm-hmm,
It's literally as simple as that. I just need
mm-hmm.
something that I can play to the board and also like take the wind out of my opponent's sails when they're super aggressive on the play. Just that tool is fine with me. Like, but I'm not excited by the 3-drop options we've got at the moment, and
It's
other
also
decks are like absolutely feasting with amazing ones. So like, why would I not try them?
it's also sad that we not at least got Cricky back. Like they really
Mm,
took everything. They really took everything. Everything that it was also like weird in the past when people, and that you see that right now in the past, people, I never used the term, like people called it like green purple tempo all the tempo.
mm.
I didn't understand why people call our deck tempo, because it was not a tempo deck for me. It was crab and Kid are the only real tempo cards in the deck. The rest is just
Yep.
an I don't know, an aggressive deck with a lot of gas, I would say, or how can you say it? I don't know. But it was not a tempo deck. Each song deck is for me a tempo deck or something, but that was not like, we
Yeah.
didn't do really many tempo things, I would say, or at least how I see tempo. But it's again debatable, but it's like it didn't
Yeah. I
feel
mean,
like a
well,
tempo deck for me. I don't know.
yeah, no, I agree. Like I said a lot of times, like if you want to play the best tempo deck in the game, play Amber Steel for
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
last two
it's
years. It is the best tempo deck. Nothing generates a larger tempo advantage earlier.
yeah,
Like no other deck is playing 20 ink worth of cards on turn 4. Like obviously
yeah,
that's not true anymore, but they were. Um, what we were was a deck that was incredibly good. I think people just I think everyone kind of understood that. They understood that Amber
yeah, yeah,
Steel was
yeah. They
doing
understood that, but
mid-tempo stuff.
yeah, it's just a name. What is like, yeah.
The term tempo was like a misnaming sort of because well at least to me it was kind of trying to describe the fact that you had this deck so capable of shifting gears. It was
Mm-hmm.
so adaptive. It was one of the most it had like the same level of being adapted as red purple did, but instead of playing with hard removal and sweepers, played to the board, had gained the ability to go a bit faster in some of the matchups, but was super dependent on like challenge based trading,
Mm-hmm.
whereas other things were heavily dependent on their removal. So when we looked at what this format was going to look like coming into set 9, and you see that so much of the removal was kind of dropped off, I was kind of rubbing my hands together, very excited, like, oh, this is going to be great. I've been playing without removal for ages. I don't need it. Um, but no, they took all the important tools
Yeah,
that
yeah,
enabled us to do that too. So we are also in a bad spot. And yeah, the removal's taken a step back, but so has our ability to do any of the stuff we were good at, basically, other than going fast. So right now, I'll still work on it.
yeah.
I need to see some sort of innovation that's going to help me shift the gears of the game a little in that turn 3 to turn 4 spot instead of just like you either get ahead early or you just don't ever, as far as I can see.
Yeah, yeah, it's that. And
So
also like
don't know.
these cards that are like popular right now, that are like really crazy, like Tiana and
Hmm.
also Iago, and yeah, I mean I have that's why I also added Heffalumps now, but um Green Purple is relatively weak to all these cards
Mm,
that are these powerful right now, or that popular right now. That's the problem too. Like
yeah.
we have no really good Tiana answers. We have also not really good, and Amber Steel quests faster most of the time. That's the problem too. They have more two questers and stuff. And yeah, I mean, on the play, like you say, on the play, I beat Ember Steel most of the time. That's not. But any deck should be able to, to beat anything on the play. Honestly. So yeah, tricky state of the meta still. So
lots to learn, and I think that people are there is a lot to learn, a lot to work out, and I think people would generally agree with that. Is, as far as I can see, there are people all feeling quite lost. I think mostly everyone feels like what they liked most has gone away, and this is for the better. This is going to be for the good of the game. But people have so much to learn and work out together. I know there's lots of people out there looking for quick answers. They want to just be handed a deck list, give me something that works, show me what's amazing in set 9. You'll have events reasonably soon that will help us understand some of that a little better, but I think there are entirely new rules of the game to work out, and we're getting closer. But yeah, just don't be afraid to experiment and innovate a bit. Just throw it at the wall and see what sticks, because it's so different. You have to be willing to try a bunch of stuff. Basically, it's not as simple as remove the cards that rotated out, roll in the other things you considered last time but didn't play because you didn't have the deck slots. It's a really different environment. I don't know how long we'll be playing without an unconditional sweeper for, but it does change the picture quite a bit. And yeah, I am excited. I am having a good time, but it's challenging, which I'm happy for, because I like to be challenged to try and think my way through these things. But it's there's a lot to work out for sure.
What do you say about the people concerns about like the play draw disparity got worse? Do you agree with that?
I think,
or do you? What do you say with that?
Well, I find it quite easy to win on the play with most decks.
Yeah.
All of my concerns are about my on the draw games against certain things like Amber Steel. So I think it's not as simple as go first equals win, but one of the things we said for a long time was like that when you have this system, like the way questing works in Lorcana, which is, you can only challenge exerted characters. So if there was no removal and no way to exert opposing characters, everything would get a quest off before it was removed. So you would always have this kind of first mover advantage. I think in the current environment, we'll feel that a little more, but I don't think it's quite as bad as some people have speculated it is. I think it's feeling way worse because those catch-up cards are gone, and the ways to catch up are changing. Like, we have to find the new strong on the draw strategies to swing these games back around. It may well be that we're actually not missing anything and it's not there, but yeah, I think it's a significant advantage to go first at the moment because there are fewer of those catch-up things. But I'm confident we can adapt, and the game isn't just like who goes first, as some people seem to be suggesting it is. Yeah, so I guess that's a pretty non-committal answer. I don't know how I feel one way or the other. There are some games I've played on the draw and been like, why am I even here? But as I've worked at understanding this format, I think there are ways through, and we'll be able to work it out. I don't know what your view is.
Yeah, I don't think I can make a really good statement about that so soon. It feels like it. It feels like it got a bit worse. The play draw thing. I don't know if we just didn't figure it out yet, or if it just is like that. So yeah, like you say, it's for sure an advantage to go first. That's not. And of course, if we have a lot of aggressive, maybe it's just the decks that are in the meta right now that it feels like more like that. I mean, if we have a lot of aggro decks in the meta, then of course it feels like it got worse, But
Sure.
if we only played, I don't know, like red purple or blurple mirrors all day, maybe it's blurple mirrors also like really play draw. But it's like if there are other decks, then it can for sure feel different. I think when aggro is very popular, it always is like that. But I find
that's
it
when you'll feel it strongest.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I found it really, really, really challenging. I think I never had such a challenging deck building time in my Lorcana career, because like
No.
like I don't know, I don't want to be like, how can you say, like arrogant or something, but when a new set is like there, then I also feel like after 1 week or 1.5 week, I have like the build that I say, oh, that is like, that's at least a solid baseline, and I know that this is really good. The only deck I feel like that is Ember Steel. I think that's a deck that has like, I don't know, 52 to 55 cards that are like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And the rest is debatable. But the rest of the decks, I can see so many things shaking up and completely different cards being playable than we thought they are. And for instance, if you see your blue steel deck, that's, I mean, nearly 20 cards or so are different from last week, or I don't know. Or the racer stack, and it's very, very hard for me, but it's cool, but it's very hard for me to build decks. I'm just hopeful, and want to be positive about that it's not like that much play draw than it feels like it sometimes. That's
I mean, I'm not dooming at the moment. Like there's still so much to work out. It's I'm interested. Would be interested to hear what people say in the comments about like their feelings from early testing, just in general. This has felt like a massive, massive challenge, and we've said it like 20 times already. But like everything has changed. Things that you think might work just don't, and your tools to answer certain things are so much worse that it's really, really hard to navigate. And there have been some decks I've brewed up and tested thinking I've done it. That's it. This is nothing's going to beat this, and it just can't like win a game. It's a fundamental like reimagining of the game, but with the illusion that so much of the stuff is the same because there are so many core cards that still obviously survived rotation. You got this impression that things are very similar, but they are so fundamentally different. The pace of play is so different because, like you say, low resource game kind of changes everything. Of all the things, all the impactful things that have happened, like even more so than the sort of downshift in quality and availability of removal, it's the lack of card draw for a lot of these decks that is the real clincher. Is that like the lack of resources completely shifts how you can play the game a lot of the time, and opens things right up. So, I mean, I'm having fun trying to work it out, but it's really, really tough. And if you are out there looking for fast answers, I'm not sure there are any, but in another week's time, we should be a fair bit closer again.
Yeah, my feeling is that it's a bit underexplored, even for me. It's like a lot of cards that are good, but were really easily removed in the past. Like for instance, these Perla in my green yellow deck, like that was unplayable card, like and
not playable at all.
And maybe there are some, or I could see cards like the Lumiere or something, the 2-cost Lumiere. Or a lot of these cards were just removed in the past, and we see them from the power level of that, maybe, and we don't see them under today's eyes, you can say, or Pongo, a lot of these cards that are easily removed, that they are not easily removed anymore. They are
Yeah,
simply not.
lots of things that were just dead to Storm.
Yeah,
Like
for
that's one of
example.
those things.
Yeah.
That's that like ever since set 2, when Storm was printed into the game alongside Cinderella, all of your evaluation decisions, everything you've ever thought about every card since then that had 2 willpower and didn't do something right away, like those are vaulted in your head, right? Like they are gone. So you have to dig them all out and look at them again. Um, it's lucky that we have cards like Banzai, which are a really good litmus test for how playable those sorts of cards are, because in the past there were spots where we could play Banzai even though Storm existed because it was so good in some matchups, which is a nice reminder to us that actually, like, at least we know that when Banzai is good, it reminds us to look at the other two willpower cards that might also be playable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's little things like that the knock-on effect of Storm existing and how we evaluated cards drives us to go back to the card pool, look again at some of this stuff. And I think that Perla is a great example. Like, just from playing a reasonably low number of games with a new format, I could so easily see how that card would be fantastic. Because it's just going to do so much for you in both on the play and on the draw. It's just it looks really good.
Yeah, and probably there are some other cards that have a similar. I also thought
They're
about
definitely
this.
out there.
How's it called? I think it's a Bucky. Bad reminders. There's a 3-cost 3/2 Bucky. When this character
Oh
is
yeah.
banished in a challenge, draw a card. For example, that's also not.
Yep.
It's also something I thought of when I played Green Purple, because most of the time trades and gets you +1. It was so unplayable in the past.
Not playable at all.
I don't know. Locations are also like in a weird spot. That's what I thought about a lot, because like they are so hard to remove right now. We have nearly no Russian characters. But Lilo probably helps, of course. That's maybe a big downside. But in general, they are really, really hard to remove. But nobody plays them because they are just don't help you. Exit your.
It's much harder to find the spot where you
Mm-hmm.
can just get them in, like where you're happy just putting them into play and not developing your board any it, because they so naturally fit into turns like right where you either be prepared or you induce your opponent to be prepared, and then on an open board you slam them and it's great. Right, those open boards aren't happening so much, so there are less windows to play them. But I played against someone who was testing Red Steel, a deck that I'll also say looks like it has really high potential. And they were playing like a grabber and some aggressive locations in a
Mm-hmm.
Red Steel build. And I was staring at this board that had like a bunch of stuff because we were just sort of like staring each other down for a bit. And then a Mushu that's kind of threatening. The board is frozen because I can't open up these Mushu trades. And then they played locations behind that. And so I'm like, right, I turn my stuff sideways to clear these locations and die to
Mm-hmm.
Mushu, or I die to the locations. So there are spots like that
Yeah,
where
that
they
makes
would be
sense.
incredibly good. Like if you want a way to break these completely frozen boards, they still can play that role in, they pose a threat without you having to exert anything, or you maintain your strong ball presence and invite your opponent to challenge the locations, opening up the good trades for you. So it can break those stalemates. There are certainly spots for them that look like they'd be really good, but in
Mm-hmm.
general, when I've tried to play with them, they've felt roundly unplayable.
Yeah.
So
For me
I just
too.
don't know.
For me too. Yeah, I have the same feeling, but yeah, maybe.
Yeah, lots of weird little
Of
things like
course,
that to
like
work through.
locations were also good, like when you had board wipes, of course,
Yep.
because that's obviously a good combination, locations and board wipes. But yeah, so maybe there are just no spots anymore to play them. Yeah. Yeah, that's that. Do we have anything more to say about the meta?
I don't think so for the time being. I think, lots of stuff feels playable. At a bare minimum, I want a good plan on the draw against Amber Steel.
Mm-hmm.
I think most steel decks offer you that, and there are also some purple decks that offer you that. But the big challenge, the big question mark for me is, how can I find a deck that I am both confident into Amber Steel on the draw and confident that I can outpace, outgrind the big blue decks? Don't have a solid answer right now, but that's what I'm working
What
on
do
this
you mean
week.
with big blue decks? Like
I mean,
blurple and
Blurple and Blue Green.
blue green, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Blue green is also, yeah, that's also a question mark for me. Like I'm not sold on that honestly, but maybe I'm too low on it. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see.
Yep.
Okay. Then we say to thank you everyone for watching, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we hope you return next week, everyone watching, and send us comments for everything we said today. We're excited to talk with you about this stuff. And yeah, till next week, and bye bye.
Bye bye.